Welcome to the Yankee Cowboy Podcast, coming to you from Dallas, Texas. Here's your host, Tim Wilkins.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Yankee Cowboy Podcast. And today's somber edition of the Yankee Cowboy Podcast is the topic that y'all have been waiting for all you liberals out there, you libtards. Trump finally got indicted. But no perp walk and no mugshot. Shocker. Y'all got half. It's like getting a handy, but no blowy. But in all seriousness, today's topic is an American travesty, unlike anything we've ever seen before. And I'm going to go full into this topic now and talk about it. Chris, I appreciate you joining me as always. But today is a very sad and somber day in America. There's no question about it. I'm not happy. Any liberals might be happy. I can care less if they are. But this is a very sad, sad day in America. What that man did for the rule of law in this country is pretty much throw it down into the banana republic. And I'm not just trying to sound like a blowhard conservative here, being pissed off that my president got indicted for basically a bookkeeping charge. I'm pissed off because as a criminology major that spent 4 years in college, this kind of judicial ethics is by far the worst I've ever seen in any lawyer's activity or prosecution. Coming firsthand knowledge from many different lawyers and many different prosecutors across many different states, I understand, as the saying goes, you can indict a ham sandwich, but this is by far the biggest travesty known to humanity. And Chris, I'm going to go about this situation. Today, the indictment got read. Basically, it's the same exact charge 34 times. They didn't try to stack. They definitely charge stacked it, they call it. It's a judicial thing that they basically throw. They call, a lot of guys call it throwing the book at you. It's the same thing. It's basically, but here's the worst part about it. The indictment that came out literally reads the same thing 34 times and doesn't list the secondary crime that Trump supposedly violated by doing said bookkeeping problem. So the law itself is basically, if you do a fraudulent, it's clear as day. You break that part, it's a misdemeanor, which we're outside the statute of limitations, which, by the way, I have to say that the lawyers on this are making a fucking fabulous amount of cash for basically what's going to come down to a motions case. It's going to probably have about maybe a half a dozen motions by the time this thing is all said and done. And the case should be thrown out in court. Some way, shape, or form, either by this judge that we got assigned to today, which I'll go into I call it the theatrics today, because that's what it was, a bunch of theatrics. Anybody in this country that's ever gotten arrested before, I'm going to tell you right now, that is not how any arrangements go by any means of the imagination. The court, by the way, for them to even start at 2:15, okay? No offense to anybody. Just like Donald Trump today on 8:15 speech time, that man didn't start till 8:30. Just saying. Man can't keep track of time. But with all joking aside here, court arraignment was supposed to start at 2:15. He didn't even walk in the damn room until 2:30. Everybody's sitting there. They took a little snapshot picture, looked like basically the guy from Progressive commercials, and they ask a bunch of questions. So today is honestly a travesty because, Chris, I think you may or may disagree with me on this. The fact of the matter is, why this case? Why? The facts of this case on discovery, I'm not going to try to go through the legal jargon of this, is literally, it got discussed today. The dates and times of this supposed action is when he's in the Oval Office, which by definition is almost impossible because he was not running his business from the Oval Office. They're trying to say, which, by the way, for all you listeners out there that may or may not care about this, but they're basically bootstrapping, they call it, the actions of a $130 non-disclosure agreement to a adult film star named Stephanie Clifford, better known as Stormy Daniels, for $130,000 for a non-disclosure agreement, which both of them in years past in history have declined that any events even transpired under oath and otherwise, said it never happened. But, what do I know? I'm just a normal guy. But paying a $130,000 porn lawyer, or I'm sorry, adult film actress, okay, or OnlyFans star, as we like to call them now, $130,000, and then gets into some kind of civil lawsuit later on down the road and gets basically all the money back that you spent and then legal fees. The comedic aspect of this case by far is the most hilarious thing, Chris. I think you can attest to this. The amount of just dumb shit that you hear people try to say and rationalize why this is even a criminal case is mind-blowing. What did he do? He didn't do anything. He was in the Oval Office of the country, White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, running the country.
Well, Tim, we all know and I jump in real quick. We all know the reason why they're going after him. It's because he is the most dangerous thing to the swamp and the establishment. They know if and when he gets his keys back to the White House, that he's going to go full scorched earth. He'll be a second term president. He's got nothing to lose. They all know that. That's the reason why that they've done everything to this guy. They've wiretapped him. They spied on his campaign. They impeached him twice. They unconstitutionally raided his home. They've done everything they can to take this man out. And this was and I've heard this term used during the week. This was their proverbial wet dream, was to indict him.
Yeah, but here's the problem, though, man. They blew their wad like a 12-year-old dude going through puberty on a case that doesn't have anything. It's like, at least get me something. Give me a traffic ticket, a DWI. Give me something. No, you're going to get me on a bookkeeping deal. Like, come on, man.
The old adage is, you find the man and I'll find the crime. We're not investigating crimes and looking for people. We're investigating people looking for crimes. That's the difference right now.
I will say we'll talk about his speech here in a minute, but I think legitimately what happened in this entirety of what happened here is this man has now secured his nomination for the presidency of the United States. And I don't care what people think about this, but I'm sorry, Ron DeSantis, your time is not now. I love you to death, buddy. You're a great governor, but damn it, the time is not yours. You're going against. You don't want a motivated Donald Trump like this. I'm very, very. How do I put it to people? A lot of people don't remember. Maybe they do remember the White House Correspondents' Dinner that he got invited to when Barack Obama was president of the United States, and he got basically eviscerated by Barack Obama, basically saying he's a joke, he's nothing, he's not going to be president, and that gave him some kind of, I don't know if you want to call it energy, fire, whatever you want to call it, enthusiasm, whatever you want to call it. But now, I think he said it today in his speech, and I caught at the very end of it, him watching his own accountant that was his, basically, I would say, for over 30 years at the Trump administration or Trump organization, get convicted of a crime and get sentenced to the life for the rest of his adult life that he has to serve, is now what's driving Trump to say, you go after everybody that I love, and now this is what's going to happen. You indicted. Like he literally talks about the story where the judge that he has now told the accountant if you plead guilty to this, you only have to serve 90 days, which is a very admirable thing. But at the same time, he wouldn't go down. And he's now serving a long-term deal. He's 75 years old, Chris, and I can think that's kind of a tough way to go. It's tough boat to row there. But he's watching people around him get basically eviscerated when it comes to legal costs. You can't tell me that this stuff is cheap. I mean, everybody has lawyers, but I mean, seriously, this is ridiculous. I mean, Mark Meadows, all the lower level staffers have lawyers. They're all getting subpoenaed. I mean, come on now. You can't tell me this is gonna help the country out. Which Eric Trump did bring up a valid point today. It cost the New York City government $200+ million to have Trump basically go through the city of Manhattan, or the city of New York City, the borough of Manhattan, go through LaGuardia. I mean, $200 million over a $130,000 misledger. I'm sorry. It is, if the lawyers, by the way, that Trump has on this isn't like some blonde and like two ditzy blondes and a pear tree. It is literally some of the most. If you don't know of who he has for lawyers, guys, look up their track records. He ain't coming here with some doofuses. He ain't doing the whole like, hey, I'm going to hire 3 lawyers for my election integrity law thing. No. He hired some of the best. One was a great white-collar lawyer that got Paul Manafort basically a minimum sentence. And, and then he has one of the greatest defense attorneys in New York. So, a high profile. So it's going to be hilarious to watch, Chris. I think the speech today, honestly, I think was uneventful. I think he spoke about it, but I didn't think he was going to go use one word, one sentence in there. I didn't think people didn't catch until the very end. And I'm sitting there going, oh, he's going to use that one for the campaign. And I think you know which one I'm talking about there, that one sentence. And he wasn't going to start going into election mode. I think he was very stoic, very composed, but I think now he knows what time it is. It's time to go. So your thoughts, Chris? I'll take them. We're have some fun with this day. It's a crazy day today.
I mean, I think obviously, when you look at the speech, which we decided obviously to take the podcast after the speech this evening. I mean, yeah, I think stoic is a term to use. I mean, this guy just keeps going. When you look at what the heart and soul of America truly is, he embodies it. Right? I mean, how many people can continue to take these shots day in and day out, keep on going? I mean, it's something that is quite incredible. And if you're a true red-blooded American, you look at that and you say, he's the reason why we need to keep fighting for this country. This country is in a very, very difficult spot right now, but fortunately, we have somebody like him who, basically has the swamp after him, so much after him, and he continues each and every day to keep fighting for this country. And that's really all you can ask for out of somebody, is that he gives us hope that there could be, nothing's ever guaranteed in life, but he gives us hope that that this isn't over, that this country is still worth fighting for, and we have to each and every day get up and continue to fight for this country. This country's in bad shape. There's no doubt about it. He definitely alluded to it, but we just have to continue to keep our eye on the prize each and every day, regardless of all the forces that are working against us. It's not a it's not a sprint. This is a marathon. It didn't get screwed up. It didn't get screwed up just overnight, and it certainly isn't going to get turned around overnight.
I mean, I think you said it right there. It's not going to get turned over overnight, but I think politically, ladies and gentlemen, it can't go without saying this, but I have to say it. The base rhinos came out and supported him. And Chris, I think we even saw a never Trumper himself come out and say this is terrible charge, and that was Jeb Bush. And a lot of never Trumpers are coming out and saying, "Hey, this is not what this isn't good," And
I
I'm
will
not
say
saying
the GOP
yeah.
was rather quiet today, even during the majority of the day. The GOP was rather quiet, which was to me was quite frustrating.
I think a lot of people need to take the ownership and understanding that the GOP, the only thing they like using Donald Trump for is campaigning or finance and rallying money. And it's scary to say that, but like that's all they. How many fucking text messages and damn emails I got after Trump got indicted? Seriously, I understand it's a fucking campaign, but Win Red can go fuck itself. Seriously, the GOP party can go fuck off. Like, sorry, where were you when Trump was saying, "Hey, hire lawyers in Pennsylvania"? Hey, hire lawyers in Georgia or Wisconsin. Nowhere to be found, right? But you still email me and call and texted me 30 fucking times in 2 weeks about the same bullshit. It's ridiculous, dude. Like, I'm sorry, but this podcast can go about all day long about Trump, but I respect the president of the United States, but I don't respect the GOP infrastructure anymore. I'm sorry. I don't respect that. I'm sorry, but Brad Parscale lost him that election. Point blank. Lost him that election because he's too worried about getting a donor list and all this other bullshit. Analytics that didn't matter. That he was going to raise money regardless from the treasure trove known as the Oval Office. Okay? You can raise $1 billion from the 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. But guess what? You can't hire freaking constitutional lawyers to fight election integrity laws when you're just raising money all the time because you don't have political wit. I'm sorry, but Brad Parscale was the worst campaign manager. Lost us that election for no reason. But, of course, we have Ronna McDaniel, a.k.a. Ron and Romney. This is my last term. What are you going to do? You're not going to do anything for these local candidates. We lost another election. Sorry. It's just stupid. I'm sorry, Chris, to go on a tangent there, but it's just the infrastructure of the party wants to text me 1 million times and text you 1 million times as a conservative going, "Hey, feel free to donate today." No, I'm going to donate to the guy that's fucking losing his ass every day to the damn Democrats that needs our help. That's Donald Trump. I don't need to donate to you. You ain't doing anything to help him. Hell, the only thing you've done to help him is throw him under the bus. Blame it on him losing the midterm elections. Really? The GOP has lost its way, dude, in so many more ways than one. It's ridiculous.
No doubt about it.
It's just, I have enough respect for the president of the United States, the presidency of the United States, the office itself. But Donald Trump didn't get any help from the GOP there, dude. I'm sorry.
Or any America First candidate.
I will say that Bill Barr, which I'm not sure. I know you didn't watch any of the Fox News covers throughout the day because you were doing the adulting part of the day. Bill Barr is probably the most like adult man in the room when it comes to this stuff, and he was like, "This is frivolous." Like, he's not a Donald Trump supporter. He's just a man that worked for him, and he's like, I got into many disagreements with him, but guess what? He's right here. I mean, there's the time to be adults in the room, and this is the time to be an adult in the room. We as a country have never indicted a former president for anything. We're not damn Brazil. We're not Israel. We're not France. We're not any European country that can't even defend itself without the help of the United States. No, we're the United States. We're the beacon on the hill. And basically what we did to ourselves today was we embarrassed ourselves globally by indicting a president for no reason other than, hey, I paid off a public or a adult film actress $130,000 for an
allegedly.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate using the word allegedly. I appreciate it. It sounds like you're more you're tuned to that than I am. For a relationship that did or may or not happen on a certain Tuesday after sometime other day. Like I get it, but like I don't get it, man. I don't understand how Trump is supposed to. Which did you catch any of the kind of the events of the day other than the speech today? Did you catch up like the whole what the judge was talking about?
honestly, I didn't catch a lot of it. I mean, and again, this, when we look at the totality of this indictment, where it's located. I mean, and Tucker Carlson touched on it. This indictment sets a really bad precedent. That apparently we could start indicting people anywhere around the country if you have a liberal DA. I mean, this,
Yeah, wait till Biden gets out of office. We're
Yeah.
gonna indict him in Florida.
Yeah, two can play the game. There's no doubt about it. But when you look at it from a place that voted 80% for Joe Biden, the the judge in the case hates Trump. Everybody hates Trump. So there's no way that if this were to even go to trial, which at this point, who knows? But at this point, who would expect that?
I mean, legitimately,
him to get a fair case?
anybody with a brain will see this indictment and okay, let's go through this, shall we, everybody? Okay, let's open up your earbuds, everybody. I'm not gonna talk down to you, I'm gonna talk with you. But the same charge gets read 34 times on the indictment, the same exact sentence, by the way. You can probably look it up on the internet, on Twitter. By the time this podcast comes out, it'll be all over the social media pages. Basically, what it is the same exact. What he did was he used the same transaction 4 times. Every time he paid Michael Cohen, he counted the transaction 3 times. That's how he got to 34 transactions, which AKA is 34 counts. Here's the thing. He's not stating in the indictment what underlying crime or what underlying felony that he's violating the New York statute. He tried to today on his stupid press conference today, try to elaborate more with some basically democratic, cool-looking flowcharts and looked like a complete doofus on national television because basically it said the same stupid thing without even getting any details. It's hilarious. If you want to learn how to do a flow chart, just ask a Democrat because they can probably do it pretty damn well. Also, here's a catch tag for you. Nobody's above the law? No one's above the law, but apparently if you're liberal, you sure fuck are. But, what do I know? But just throwing this out here, everybody, that Alvin Bragg is going to literally get disbarred by the American Bar Associations after he's done with this. Because he's breaking like 4 different edicts of bar ethics, American Bar Association ethics. He's bringing up a crime. He's bringing up charges against somebody without underlying evidence. And he also presented in the grand jury, he didn't do any exculpatory evidence presentations. He just presented everything he had, which, by the way, wasn't much. And his star witness has been discredited. Michael Cohen. Sorry, but you're discredited. So, which, by the way, he went to jail for basically tax fraud. That's what he went to jail for. So, the charges that Alvin Bragg is talking about, okay, he's saying that he's trying to violate New York election law. I would like to know where exactly what election law in New York State that he is violating when the dates and times that he's using, which, by the way, are from February 2017 to the end of the year. Those are the dates that he's using. If you don't believe me, look it up yourself, everybody. The discovery will be all over the internet once the evidence gets put out there. But if that's indeed true, the man was in the Oval Office. Also, you're outside the statute of limitations right now, legitimately. If it happened in 2017, you're borderline outside of statute of limitations. It's a 5-year statute.
And then you have Bragg using the excuse that, oh, well, the statute of limitations is not included here because basically that it's not consecutive. Trump is not a resident of New York. So
well, yeah, and that's where at the same time, then
just making up as they go.
Yeah, and they move the goalposts, as we like to say in the world. And the thing is, man, at some point, at the end of this, Trump's going to win another term because, no offense to Ron DeSantis, but he literally raised $7 million fucking in 48 hours. $1 million of it came from first-time donors. If that's not any indication enough that the former president of the United States is going to beat the holy hell out of you for another 7 months. I don't know what else is. The base is there. I think the silent majority is there. They support him. It's just a matter of how he navigates the messaging down the road here and not being too much of a pain in the dick to the AG and the judge here to get basically a gag order. If he doesn't get a gag, which, by the way, we haven't talked about this, but I will say it briefly because everybody has brought this up that I've talked to. The gag order is going to basically get appealed on notice of it dropping if it does happen. It's unconstitutional. It's the first time in the country that a sitting presidential candidate, the leading presidential candidate for the Republican Party, is leading in the polls, and you're going to censor him. He can't talk about it. He's also ran on this issue. Also, the two AGs in the state of New York, obviously Letitia James and the sitting AG on this case, have campaigned about going after him. So, believe me, it won't last long either. But I just today, man, I hate to sound like a vent box here, but at the same time, this is by far one of the stupidest things anybody can elaborate on more than just going, this is all you got? Really? This is all you got? Give me a vehicular manslaughter case, or give me something good. Give me something. Like, hell, man, like there's guys in this country that have gotten locked up for less. I mean, seriously, like, why waste the damn city's time when there's people getting killed, getting pushed in front of subways and getting stabbed in broad daylight and getting robbed every day in New York City? But yet we're going to worry about Donald Trump about this one, right?
Because you got to look at the totality of the situation. You got to give, and this is, I'm not giving them credit by any means, but you have to look at it from this perspective. This is where the GOP continues to flub and fail when it comes to anything. They're only, since Donald Trump, really since he came down the escalator, but especially since he put his hand on the Bible and took the oath to become the president of the United States, they have not taken their eyes off getting rid of him. Like, deleting him.
They should be taking it out on us, man. I hate to say this to everybody, but
they are.
Let's be honest here. No, but they're taking it out on Trump. They're taking out all their shit on Trump. And they're making us pay now with this sleepy, creepy Joe pedo Pete fucking president we got. Allegedly.
Trump is the conduit of what they really want to do to America. That Trump is merely the conduit. That's all he is the conduit of what really they want to do.
He did talk about it. He said it briefly there. He said this feels like Soviet Russia.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Prime example of, we can use a simple example of how they truly feel about America. When you had the whole chemical spill in Ohio, that area voted like 75% for Trump. If that was in Baltimore or New York City or Los Angeles or any Atlanta, any of these major Democrat areas, they would have had every single 3 or 4 letter agency there to help clean up the mess. Oh, well, the drinking water there is unhealthy. Well, the problem is you guys are this is Trump country, so you're not our problem.
I will say I was surprised that he didn't go into like a campaign speech today, but I kind of wasn't. You know what I mean? You there?
But yeah. This is crazy times. You know, I mean, unfortunately, in the situation we look at, I mean, while America's focused on all this, we've got countless number of issues that we could spend all day going into, probably, for another podcast. But, the fact that our dollar now is becoming used less and less around the world as the major currency, that whole Chinese spy balloon, that yes, indeed, they did get data about our military bases, and also that Saudi Arabia and OPEC are going to slow down oil production. I mean, while we're sitting here
just in time when all the strategic reserves are basically bone dry.
Exactly.
There it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're really good time here because pedo Pete president allegedly.
And while we send another $26 billion to Ukraine.
Listen, I'll say it candidly. I don't have. How do I put it to people? I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but like, this reminds me a lot of the FDR days where like we didn't want to get into like the Second World War for a while, and then something happened to us where we had no choice but to get into it. That's kind of what this feels like with them in Ukraine and Russia. Like, it kind of feels like, hey, we're putting money to all the allies for a while, but we're not doing anything, right? And then all of a sudden, oh, Japan decides to bomb Pearl Harbor, and then we got to go do it. I'm telling you, there's going to be something that happens to us that we have to go, okay, hold my beer and go fucking just take care of business, because tired of the kids in the background fucking things off. Like, it's gotten to the point now, man, where, like, I hate to say it, but it really, Trump's not denying, he's not lying when he says we're on the brink of World War III here. And it's because a guy can't lead. A guy is leading from behind. It's terrible.
Well, it's not to mention, it's not like we're not dealing with, we're not dealing with, this is not the, where we're the only power in the world that has nuclear weapons. Like, all these countries have used nuclear weapons now. So we're in very dire straits from a foreign policy aspect.
It is by far probably the most discouraging thing to be an American when your leader of the free world is perp walked for basically a bookkeeping crime. Same thing happened to Benjamin Netanyahu, by the way, in Israel. Very, very good ally of ours in Israel there. He got perp walked for some kind of financial crimes, and basically he's still prime minister of the country. So to me, it's kind of, the judicial system is now being used to penalize your opponents. And unfortunately, and I mean this judiciously here, what they do to us, we will do to them. And I don't mean who, not naming names, but I'm just telling you, time will tell what happens next, because if they go down this road, I'm sorry, but there's a hell of a lot more evidence from the Biden family and the Hillary Clinton family. And let's see, we can go through the whole list here. All the DAs and other liberal cities, all that fun stuff. Like, for example, why is Lori Lightfoot not being indicted for murder if we're going to go down this road? She was the mayor of Chicago. Oh, by the way, congratulations, Chicago, for voting a new mayor. Congratulations for all y'all for having someone that knows how to actually lead a city. Congratulations. That election was today. Also, hopefully, and I mean this judiciously here, that they elect a good governor of Kentucky by the name of the good old AG there. Hopefully he wins. But I'm saying, Chris, in closing here, today is a very sad day. And I know I joke around about this, and I sound like a blowhard conservative all the time. But today was really a sad day. And I'm not saying take out a box of tissues and being all woohoo. No, it's a sad day. It's a disappointing day when we become the embarrassment of the fucking free world, because literally of a discretion, ladies and gentlemen, is a magical thing used in the judicial system. I'm going to close with this in a very nice possible manner. The federal system declined to prosecute this case. Alvin Bragg's predecessor declined to prosecute this case based on the merits of the evidence that was presented today. Every FEC ruled that it was not an election violation. Alvin Bragg, you are a disgrace to the legal profession. Disgrace. You make used car salesmen look legally and ethically better than a lawyer. I'm telling you, you should not. You are a crackpot lawyer, bar none. That's the end of it. Appreciate it, Chris. Any more thoughts in closing? Go ahead, Chris. I'll let you have it.
No, I think we've established what the situation is, and time will tell what's next. And honestly, who knows? But all we can do is say a prayer for our President Trump, and hope that the good Lord will keep him safe and keep his family safe. And that's about all we can ask for, and just keep going out there and keep fighting and supporting.
Hopefully, I'll get his golf game. Just saying. All right. Also, by the way, congratulations. It is Masters weekend. I hope everyone has a good week. Feel free to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Appreciate it as always. Chris, for joining me.
Sir,
Let's do it again next week.
Thank you for listening to the Yankee Cowboy Podcast. Feel free to follow us on social media via Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook.